Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Nurul Mutmainna with NIM 20400122071, and today I will make a video about the explanation for assignment 2, the genesis of discourse analysis. So the first question is, why should we learn the genesis of discourse analysis? So studying the genesis of discourse analysis is crucial because this field has evolved from multiple disciplines, including linguistics, philosophy, sociology, and psychology. Understanding its historical development allows us to see how discourse analysis has transformed from a study of linguistic structures into a broader investigations of how language is used in social interactions and communication. Discourse analysis is rooted in theories from various scholars such as John Austin and John Searle with speech act theory, and Michael Foucault, who emphasize the relationship between language and power. By learning about its origins, we can understand how discourse analysis is applied to examine language is in different contexts such as politics, media, education, and everyday conversation. Additionally, knowing its genesis helps us recognize how different methods and approaches have been developed, ranging from critical discourse analysis to conversation analysis. This knowledge enables us to choose the most suitable approach when analyzing language in specific situations. Number two, do you agree that the development of discourse analysis theory is strongly influenced by the development of linguistic theories? Why? Um, yes, I strongly agree that the development of discourse analysis has been significantly influenced by linguistic theories. This influence is evident in how linguistic concept has provided a foundation of discourse analysis, particularly in understanding how language conveys meaning in different social contexts. For instance, structuralism, introduced by Ferdinand de Saussure, emphasized that language is a system of interconnected signs. This idea laid the groundwork for discourse analysis by highlighting the structural patterns present in text and conversations. Later, pragmatics, developed by scholars like Paul Grace, introduced key concepts such as the maxim of conversation, quality, quantity, duration, and manner. These maxims are essential to discourse analysis because they help explain how speakers organize their utterances to achieve effective, effective communication. Furthermore, functional linguistics, particularly Michael Halliday's systematic functional linguistics, or usually we call it SFL, has played a crucial role in discourse analysis. Halliday proposed three metafunctions of language. So the first is ideational metafunction. It, Additional metafunctions uh, explain how language expresses experiences and concepts of the world. The second one is interpersonal metafunction, how language reflects relationship between speakers and listeners. And the last is textual metafunction, how texts are structured by create cohesion and coherence. Number three, what do you know of traditional grammar theory? Please explain your answer to this question by referring to these things. So the first is, what is traditional grammar theory? Traditional grammar theory is an approach to language study that focuses on grammatical rules on classical Latin and Greek languages. It emphasizes written language structures and prescriptive rules. And the second one is, what is the main principle of this theory? The main principle of traditional grammar is that language should follow established grammatical rules to ensure correctness and clarity in communication. These rules are often prescriptive, meaning they dictate how language should be used rather than how it is naturally used in everyday interactions. The third is, what do teachers who adopt these principles do in teaching a language? Teachers who apply traditional grammar principles usually teach grammar rules explicitly, conduct sentences analysis, and provide translation exercise. Their primary focus is on helping students learn correct grammatical structures rather than developing communicative skills. For the fourth, what are the products of this theory? The main products of traditional grammar theory include grammar books that contain rules, word lists that the student must memorize, and structures exercise focusing on sentence constructions and analyzing. And the fifth is, what is the main shortcoming of this theory? A major weakness of this theory is its rigid approach, which does not consider the natural variation of language in real-life usage. It focuses more on written language and formal grammar rather than spoken language and its practical applications. And the last is what is the grammar's translation method and its relation to traditional grammar theory. The grammar translations method is uh, is a teaching approach that emphasizes translating facts between the source and target language. This method is closely related to traditional grammar theory because both focus on grammatical accuracy and structural correctness rather than fluency or communicative competence. For the question number 4 is what do you know of structuralism theory? Please explain your answer to this question by referring to these things. So the first is what do you know about structuralism theory? What is structuralism theory and what did Saussure say about the structures of language? Structuralism is a linguistic theory that views language as a system of interrelated signs. Ferdinand de Saussure argued that language consists of langue, the the underlying system of language, the parole, individual speech acts. He also introduced the concept of the linguistic science, which consists the significant with the signifiers or sounds or written form and signified concept or meaning. The second one is what are the main principles of this theory? The primary principle of structuralism is that language should be studied as a structured system in which all elements are interconnected and follow specific rules. The third is what is the informant method and what is the relationship with the structuralism theory. The informant method is a linguistic research technique where a researcher collects speech data from native speakers. This method aligns with structuralism because it helps linguists identify patterns and structures with language based on a text. Fourth is what are the characteristics of this method? The informant method focuses on systematic and formal linguistic analysis, often using direct observation and questioning of native speakers. The fifth is what is the main shortcoming of this theory? One major shortcoming of structuralism is that largely ignores the social and contextual meanings of language. It focuses primarily on internal linguistic structures rather than how language is used in real life situation. And the last is what is error analysis and what is relation to structuralism theory. Error analysis is the study of language learners' mistakes. It is connected to structuralism because it helps researchers understand how learners process and internalize language structures, often revealing patterns in language acquisitions. And the last question is what do you know of the structuralism theory? Please explain your answer to this question by referring to these things. So the first things is what is the functionalism theory and what did Chomsky say about language? Functionalism is a linguistic theory that views language as a tool for communication that developed based on social needs. In contrast, Noam Chomsky argue that language is an innate cognitive ability governed by universal grammar, which emphasizes the deep structures of language rather than its social functions. And the second one is what is the differences between Chomsky views and Himes' views about language? Chomsky focuses on linguistic competence, which refers to a speaker's internal knowledge of grammatical rules, while Daley Himes introduced the concept of communicative competence, which includes not only grammatical knowledge but also the ability to use language appropriately in different social contexts. And the third is what is the main principles of functionalism? The primary principles of functionalism is language should be studied based on functions in rather than a set of abstract rules. Functionalists believe that meanings and social contexts are just important grammar and structure. And number four is what is the CLT method and its relation to functionalism theory. Communication language teaching (CLT) is a language teaching approach that emphasizes real-life communication instead of memorizing grammar rules. CLT is related to functionalism because it prioritizes the practical use of language in social interactions over theoretical grammar instruction. And the last is what is the relationship between discourse analysis and functionalism theory. Discourse analysis and functionalism are closely related because both focus on how language is used in real communication, while functionalism emphasizes the purpose and context in language. Discourse analysis examines how language structures, meanings, and interaction functions with different social and cultural settings. I think that's all from me. Thank you for watching these videos. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.